Barcelona drugs, from what I've read, it's the one place where creativity actually pays. This is James Whalen. I'm going to just give you sort of a journalistic overview, things that I've read. It's sort of my hobby following the drug trade. No personal experiences here. Let me throw some ideas at you. Keep in mind that there are 420 million shipping containers moving around the planet every year. It's 90% of all shipments that go on. Who's checking all of these containers? No one. Barcelona is a port town. There's plenty of port towns around, but Barcelona has an industrial port with lots of shipping coming into it. Spain in general is a launching ground or a staging ground or an entrance point into Europe for a lot of illicit drugs. All of the cocaine in the world is produced in Latin America. A huge amount of hashish is produced right across the Mediterranean in Morocco. And it comes here and moves elsewhere basically just because it's seeking a more lucrative market. There was so much hashish at one point moving in to a little village near Cadiz in the south of Spain that the municipal government put up a chain to keep the boats from going up the local river. That is literally a medieval defensive tactic. Barcelona has some of that also. Just this past summer, a British national was arrested here. He's the leader of a European mafia or network or cartel. An Italian citizen was picked up also in a separate incident. And there even was a drug-related homicide in the center of Barcelona this summer, 2018. So what's happening is a lot of drugs are coming here and moving elsewhere. Keep in mind that cocaine goes through something like a 1 to 100 markup. There's no other product in the world that goes through such an extreme change in price of production to prices that you can ask for on the streets. So when it gets here, it's moving, a lot of times moving north. Until recently, a lot of the authorities were in the U.S. and here were taking a sort of supply approach towards fighting the drug trade. What that meant was they tried to grab the material, they tried to grab the containers of the shipments. And this looks great, right? They catch a container of cocaine, it's some huge quantity, they've got photographs, they can parade this around. What they're not mentioning is they grab one container, there might have been 10. Or they grab one container and that means that the cartels in Latin America just crank up production. This is cheap powder. Who are you really hurting? One of the other tactic that they sometimes can use is to try to grab the money, because at least grabbing money actually damages the business approach. Drugs move on an industrial level these days ever since Pablo Escobar, and Barcelona is like that also. There is a nightlife in Barcelona, and wherever there's a big nightlife, there's some sort of underbelly of illicit drug use and probably weapons. But I don't want to frighten you away, folks. Barcelona is the safest city I've ever experienced. It's a very civic-oriented city, very family-oriented. It's very stable, maybe even to the point of being inflexible, but it's not a dangerous city relating to the drug trade that I've ever read about or experienced. In fact, if the locals were here, the one thing they would complain about, if locals were doing this video, it would be, relating to the drug trade would be that drunk tourists cause problems, a certain amount of hooliganism, and then they might just throw out the idea that, hey, if you want to use illicit drugs and be an idiot, can't you just stay at home? Maybe that's not what you want to hear, folks, but that's what I got. I don't have street names and telephone numbers and street corners. We're having a fantastic time doing these videos. If you've got questions, I'm happy to get back to you about them. Throw me something. Jam on the like button. I hope you have an amazing day. This is James Whalen throwing specific solutions, quirky fun. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Adios.